not based off of her credentials, not based off of her ability to be able to communicate effectively. We all know them. We see them. We've worked at the jobs. We see it every single day. Supervisor think that he better than everybody else on the Amazon warehouse floor. He think that he better than everybody else, and he just so happened to be busting down all of the chicks because he has some level or position of power, and then that then clouds his judgment, and he puts himself at a disadvantage by messing around with chicks that he shouldn't even be around, all because he has some position of power. Every single level, there is always a finesse, and the women know it. So the question then becomes, at what point do we smarten up? Because we are smart, even though they keep telling you that you're stupid, even though they keep telling you that your brain don't fully develop until you in your mid-20s, even though most guys don't start to get that clarity and start to see things a little bit differently until they're in their 30s. At what point do we then say, okay, game on, I know what the play is? Game on, I know what the play is. At what point do we then say, you know what? I'm unwilling to be finessed going forward. I'm unwilling to be used in that way going forward. At what point do we smarten up? At what point do you stop taking advice from women just because they look a certain way? At what point do you recognize that it doesn't even matter whether or not I can bust her down or not? My true the value in this relationship is me. Everything runs through you. The power is not in between her legs. The power is in you. You give her her power by acknowledging whatever it is that she's trying to present to you. Listen. The only reason why they have power, the only reason that they can leverage sex, the only reason why women's strip clubs have men throwing money on a regular basis is because we give it to them. It's not inherently theirs. They are the weaker vessel. The only power that they have is what we give to them. And when you remove that power, you then realize you can have it anytime that you want. See, it's not for them to give it to you. It's for you to be able to exercise on it if you want to. That's the true power. See, we never gonna remove our inherent nature to hunt. That's just what men do. We see beautiful women, but the smartest men, the wisest men, the strongest men don't turn around and look every time one passes by us. You know why? Because we've recognized our power. A lot of guys don't get to that point until they've been with enough women or had enough sexual experiences, but by that time, they've given so much of their power away that they're no longer as effective as they could be because it took them to have to go through it in order to get to it. Men that have strong fathers in their lives, men that were allowed to fail in controlled environments before they got to this certain space, then skip the line because they understand that they don't have to execute to it. They don't have to give her his power in order for him to feel validated. You don't have to see it through. I'm okay with the possibility that I can do it if I want to, but I don't have to, which then is the thing that enables me or empowers me even more, because I could look back at you and make you feel good about yourself, but now you're seeking validation from me because I'm not paying no attention to you. You're not hearing me. You're not hearing me. When you don't pay her no attention is when she then starts to get more intrigued, which is then the time that you start to execute on the idea that I want to use you in a different way than what everybody else used you for. The box comes with it. At any point, if you want to, you can get it because now she's willing to give it to you and she's willing to submit to you based off of the idea that you don't care nothing about her and you're not giving her that same validation that every single guy that came before you gave her. Now she look at you different. Look, I'm not talking about the guy that get put in the friend zone. I'm talking about the guy that put you in the friend zone. You're not hearing me, fam. It's another level. I'm not talking about the guy that get put in the friend zone hoping to have an opportunity with you. He falls into that category. As a matter of fact, he's even worse because he don't even have access to you, which means that you then give her the power, and then she's able to manipulate the relationship, even though she know that you would talk to her if you gave her the opportunity, if you gave him the opportunity. I'm talking about the guy that put you in the friend zone because he not paying attention to you. He know he can have you when he wants you, but he chooses not to because he's now leveraging that in order to empower you to do something that's better for you and better for him. Because what's best for me is what's best for you. The minute that you wrestle your power back by not being so easily swayed by the idea that you can bust a chick down and then you see it through or you execute on it, is the minute that you take all control of everything that's around you. That's your greatness. That's your kingship. When you teach your son, I know you can bust it down. She don't even mean nothing to you. When he can walk past the chick and she be bad and it don't mean nothing to him, not because she not bad no more, but because he don't look at her the same way as everybody else, because he's the one that's friend zoning and not the other way around, because now she's seeking validation from him because she's trying to wonder why he ain't looking at her the same way that everybody else is because he ain't paying her no attention. When you ain't turning around every single time you see a baddie, man, I seen dudes in Miami every single day that we be down there. You forgot I lived down there for like 4 or 5 months straight. And it's dudes that seem like they fish out of water. I don't know if it's their first time there and they just start seeing something and they like this and they like this and they looking every. When these dudes go over to the Dominican Republic and they came and everything, man, don't you know that them chicks get hit on every single day and it's their job and they dress like that in order to finesse you on purpose? When you stop focusing on what it is that she's presenting to you and you start focusing on what's best for you, she comes along with it. Now, she's waiting for you to use her. She's begging for you to put her in a position to do something that's actually better for her. She's seeking that validation through you. She needs that groom, that father figure, that person that is then going to give her some direction, some understanding, that's going to teach her something, that's going to put her in a position of power. Man, don't you know that she will do anything for you if she believes in you? And that largely comes from the fact that you ain't paying no attention to her in the same way that everybody else is paying attention to her. You've now wrestled your power back. And it's easy. Because once you execute on it once, you realize, oh, okay. All right. I get it now. It don't mean nothing to me no more. She don't mean nothing to me no more. Now she has to validate herself in front of me. Because I'm going to ask her, how did you even get in front of me in the first place? That's going to blow her mind. How are you even here in the first place? Who brought you here? And you just laugh it off. She knows she ain't qualified to be in your presence. And now she's going to seek your validation. You know why? Because she know you different. She recognizes a king instead of recognizing somebody that she can then finesse that's going to simp out for her. You think you special because you simped out for her. That don't make you cool. That don't make you special. You just a mark. That don't make you cool. That make you a mark, bro. Don't you know how many other dudes are saying the same thing, is trying to do the same thing, that's sending the same DM? Huh? You working for it, but she should be working for you. You working for it. Why is she not working for you? Why don't she recognize you as a king? And why would a king have to prove himself to somebody that is now his subject? Somebody that is supposed to submit. Think about it for a minute, and let's really mine this out before I drop the link in the chat. Let's really put it in perspective, right? Why would a king have to convince somebody that is supposed to be submissive to him that he's a king? Because kings automatically get recognized. They not begging for people to see their kingship. They just kings. They move different. They got a sway about them. When they walk, they look forward. They not paying attention. They wave to people. Huh? Kings move differently. Why would a king have to be validated by somebody that's below them or beneath them or is supposed to be under them as far as their covering. If you got to beg your wife for submission, that means that somewhere along the way, she's wrestled your power away from you. If you have to beg for somebody to get up under your covering and do what it is that they're supposed to do, then that means that somewhere along the way, they wrestled your power away from you. They don't respect you the same way that they're supposed to. They don't look at you the same way that they're supposed to. You know why? Because they think that they're the ones that control the relationship. They think that they're the ones, and they do, because you've given them your power, and it's already too late. It's so difficult to remix a situation and wrestle your power back, and often in those times, you just have to leave. The minute that you stand up for yourself and you say, you know what, I ain't dealing with this no more, she'll start to get herself in line. Either she'll shape up or she'll ship out. Because they know who they can finesse and they know who the mark is. Even if they're not looking for it, their inherent nature is just like a cat, right? If you turn no matter how long you've raised that cat, if you turn your back, they just go into the pounce. They go into hunting mode. You know why? Because it's inherent nature. But you know what's also in her nature? To submit to the person that's the king. The only way that you become a king is to no longer give her validation through the things that everybody else that's a commoner is looking at her for. The minute that you stop paying attention to her so much is the minute that she starts paying attention to you. And remember, you're not doing it so that she can pay attention to you. You just doing it because you're a king. Kings do what kings do. They're not over here trying to validate themselves for the peasants. So when I read through the comments, I laugh. When I see these dudes simping out in the comments and I go on Instagram and I look at a video and I say, oh, these guys is all trying to sip out and start, they want to validate trying to become. I don't sit here and be arguing back and forth with people in the comments trying to convince them why they shouldn't be step baby daddies. I'm not arguing in the comments with guys that's trying to convince them, hey, you need to do this for your own best interest and stop validating her and stop chasing behind her, stop sending DMs and all. I'm not validating you. If you ever got a DM for me, it's on some business. Hey, you coming through or what? Listen, when I send DMs to people, if I send a DM to you, you know why I sent it. I need you to execute on something completely different. And they respond different and they say yes immediately. Now they're gonna ignore all of your DMs, and then I'm gonna say, hey, come through over here so we can do this or whatever, so on and so forth. When she get there, hey, go ahead, y'all have fun or whatever. I ain't paying no attention to them. Now they want to stick around longer than they supposed to be. Why you think that is? You think I don't know why they there? You think I didn't know what the objective was the minute that I sent that piece of mail went over to him, that DM went over to him? You think I don't know what the finesse is? You think I'm paying attention to him? Huh? Keep on paying attention to him. Keep on running up to him. Keep on DMing him and see what happened. The only thing you had to do is what you do. Listen, remember this, and we can deep dive into this conversation a little bit more. I'm going to drop the link in the chat. Kings do what kings do. They don't validate themselves for the help. They don't make themselves available to the peasants. They have to make sure that they serve and take care of business and become great and rule. Kings rule. They don't sit here and try to validate themselves for women that's not going to be subjected to them in the first place. The minute that you take your power back is the minute that you start to get your respect back. The minute that you can start ruling. The minute that you can start taking control of what it is that you're supposed to be doing in the first place. The minute that you start serving and being on your purpose. I can't stand when a man comes in and says his objective is to retire his woman. What?